Switch on your television channels or read your morning newspapers or even browse through the internet and you'll find new issues making headlines with breakneck speed. One day it's an island, some day it's about a raid or a survey by some central agency on a politician, and someday it is about leaders jumping ships. And why not? After all, this is peak election season. Each party is going out of its way to woo voters, using all tools and mechanisms at its disposal. For the Bharatiya Janata Party, the mission is winning 370 seats on its own and 400 plus with its allies. The party is banking on Prime Minister Narendra Modi's popularity, the union government schemes, and national security. For the Congress, which is the principal opposition party, caste senses concentration of wealth in the hands of few and unemployment are some of the primary issues. But what are voters thinking? What are the issues on their minds? And how decisive will these issues be? Hello and welcome to Simply Put. I am Shubham Chohan. Let's get started. So this week, Lokniti, which is a research institute, along with the Center for Study of Developing Societies or CSDS, published a survey. This is basically a pre-poll survey that covers a host of issues. What are voters thinking? How do they feel about some issues in the country? More than 10,000 people participated in the survey, spread across 19 states. This is a heavily data-driven survey. So we've picked some of the major talking points from it and divided it into two sections: economy and politics. First, the economy. Unemployment and price rise are the two biggest concerns for the Indian voter as per this survey. Nearly half the electorate said these two were the biggest issues for them. Let's dig further. When asked about getting jobs in the past 5 years, about 62% across villages, towns and cities said that it had become difficult. In fact, just among cities, this figure was at 65%. So geography isn't a problem, or that joblessness is not restricted to just one locality. Now mind you, unemployment has been a core concern over the years. Given India's young population and the scale at which the country produces graduates, several experts have highlighted the need to generate more jobs. For example, in 2017-18, the unemployment rate in the country was 6.1%. It corroborated an earlier leaked government report that said that joblessness was at a 45-year-old high. A recent study showed that 2 out of every 3 unemployed individuals was a young graduate. Now it's around this time that report showed how premier institutions like the IITs were struggling when it came to jobs. IIT Bombay and IIT Madras saw 36% and 45% of this year's batch not being able to get a job respectively. The institutes, however, have denied the claims and say the actual number is much smaller. But these figures have only given a glimpse of how serious the situation is with regards to the job market. 57% of them said both the center and the state government are responsible for shrinking job opportunities. The point here is this: look at it from whichever angle, the problem of joblessness is real. So that was for unemployment. Let's now come to price rise, the second biggest issue as per the survey. 71% people said prices have gone up in the last 5 years. As figures show, the poor and low income groups have borne the biggest brunt of inflation. Now this price rise is not restricted to just one item or commodity. Rather, it's a more broader look at the cost of living. As of December, states like Haryana, Karnataka, Telangana, Maharashtra, Punjab and Bihar that had higher inflation rate than the national average saw a price rise anywhere around 6 to 7% in just 1 year. So what happens when prices go up and your pay is not able to match that pace? Savings suffer. Again, here's some more data. 36% of the respondents said with their current household income, they were able to fulfill their basic needs but don't save anything. 22% said they were able to manage both their basic needs and saving. The rest were neither able to fulfill their basic needs and of course as a result have zero savings. Now one interesting angle to note here is this. All the figures we cited above included people across the board and locality. Like joblessness and inflation is affecting a large number of respondents. But if you look at minorities or marginalized social groups, they have been more vocal than the others in this survey. Like 67% of Muslims felt getting a job in the last 5 years became difficult, or the fact that 76% Muslims felt prices have indeed gone up. Net, as far as economic condition goes, the picture is not rosy. Issues like unemployment and inflation are affecting a substantial chunk of people. And it's the government, both state and centre, which, as per majority of respondents, is responsible for this. Now, let's come to the next part, politics. Primarily, the upcoming Lok Sabha elections has two main parties, the BJP and its allies and the opposition India alliance. The BJP under PM Modi is eyeing a record third term in power. And like I said earlier, they are banking on certain factors. So let's first focus on whatever we've been seeing in the run-up to the polls. First, BJP accepting tainted leaders from rival parties. Remember, BJP saw several high-profile joinings and allies from the opposition camp in recent years, many of whom had allegations of corruption and were facing probes by central agencies like CBI, ED, IT, etc. Like Shubham in West Bengal, who switched from Trinamool Congress, or even former Maharashtra Chief Minister Ashok Chohan, who jumped ship from the Congress. 45% overall respondents say BJP shouldn't have accepted such leaders. Among BJP voters, this figure is as high as 51%. But here's an interesting observation. Nearly half the respondents say these netas are protecting themselves from the central agencies. But on the other side, respondents were divided almost equally when asked if these agencies were being used for political vendetta and working as per law. The next 2 points aren't really political in that sense, but are noteworthy. First, corruption, which is again a critical finding. 55% people say corruption has gone up in the last 5 years from 40% in the 2019 survey. And then there's the Election Commission of India. This is the body that is responsible for conducting free and fair elections in the country. So public trust in such a body is a key component. Data clearly shows that the trust of the voter in the Election Commission of India has declined significantly over the last 5 years. While there is a slight increase in those who have some trust, the percentage of those who don't have much trust has doubled compared to 5 years ago. As per the survey, a linked factor was the public's confidence in the scope for manipulation of EVMs. In a last video, we discussed this in detail. Do check it out. So we have established the key polling issues and what people think of it. Of course, you may have the question now that eventually, what is the result? Which leader do people trust more? Or more bluntly, who will win? Now for starters, like so many other things, elections cannot be predicted beforehand. Numbers and estimates are bound to change as we get closer to counting day. But what surveys like these do is just provide a direction and sort of help us gauge what the voter is thinking. So what does the survey say about the BJP and its challenger? As per the Lokniti-CSDS survey, with days to go for the Lok Sabha elections, the BJP-led NDA has a comfortable 12% lead over the opposition India alliance. For leaders specifically, 48% backed Narendra Modi for Prime Minister, with Rahul Gandhi at a distant second at 27%. So what is working for the BJP and its allies? 3 reasons. First, quote-unquote, good work. Second, welfare schemes. And third, Prime Minister Modi's leadership. In fact, the Ram Temple in Ayodhya is looked at as the most admired work of the Modi government. As a result, 44% of the respondents are willing to vote the incumbent government again. But what some experts have pointed to, that there's another substantial chunk of those who are not willing to vote for the existing government, and that figure is at around 39%. Because of this slender gap and stark divide, the lead or the cushion that the BJP has over its rivals is slender. And come election time, it's these thin margins that could potentially decide which way the elections go. That's all we have for this episode of Simply Put. Do let us know what you think will be the biggest issues in this election. Also like and share the video, share it as much as possible. And of course, subscribe to HW News English. Thanks for watching.
Stay ahead with our cutting-edge news app. Instantly access the latest shorts in just 1 minute and breaking news in just 50 words. Download now for a smarter, faster news experience.